Even the song choices, they couldn't really use certain songs. But the final needle drop in this, I was just in shock that it was used. Hey everyone, welcome back to Candid Cinema. I'm Amanda, otherwise known as AMX NDA Reviews on Twitter, Instagram, and Letterboxd. Today I will be reviewing the new Sofia Coppola film, Priscilla. Now, there is an audiobook that I listened to, which I highly recommend everyone to go listen to, even if you're not a book reader. This is narrated by Priscilla Presley. She also wrote this memoir called Elvis and Me, which this film is based on. The whole experience of listening to Elvis and Me is completely different than reading it, because you're hearing, Priscilla laugh at certain memories that she's had with Elvis. And the book is kind of structured in particular dates that were important to her, that she thought that she would share with everybody. And it's quite similar to the way that Sofia Coppola structured it. There are just moments, and it kind of feels episodic, but it also feels like they're just pieces of her memory, which I really liked because of the way that this is set up. It's a coming-of-age story for the young Priscilla who first met Elvis Presley when they were stationed in Germany, and she was 14 years old. So this story is very, very difficult to watch, I think, from a woman's perspective. I think it really explores what infatuation can do and how destructive it is at such a young age, because you can think that it's love, but it's more so infatuation, especially with an older man, because Elvis was 10 years older than Priscilla at the time when she was 14, which is quite concerning. Not only does it explain the situation, because no one really labeled it as grooming back in the day, but it also shows the parasocial relationship that, young teenagers and people can have to these superstars, these musicians, these actors. I mean, we still see it every day. So it works twofold, because you have a young girl who's very impressionable and an older man not necessarily preying on her. I wouldn't say that, because Priscilla herself has a very unique way of looking at her relationship with Elvis. And what Sofia Coppola does is that she creates this dreamlike superstar fantasy using the persona of Elvis, and then the, pandemonium that came with him being the superstar back then. But it quickly fades, it quickly shatters. And it's the brilliant performance by Kaylee Spangler, where you have this young child and she's playing a 14-year-old. I think she's in her early 20s. She's playing a 14-year-old. She looks like a 14-year-old. You feel that you needed someone who had such a young face, and it worked with her. But the thing is that Priscilla's very soft-spoken. Even when listening to the audiobook, you can hear that she's not someone who's going to be loud and obnoxious and in your face, and she's not a talker. You have that presence with Kaylee Spangler, where all of her reactions, all of her feelings are coming through just her eyes. She goes from a doe-eyed teenager when she first meets Elvis. She's escorted to the base where he's staying. And at the time, Elvis was alone. He's surrounded by people he doesn't know. He's missing home. He's very homesick because he was stationed there. He's missing his mother who had passed. So he's feeling this sense of loneliness, and he sees Priscilla, who is an American girl living in Germany, because her father was a part of the military as well. So he takes it as, I just want someone who I can talk to that's going to kind of understand me, like a fellow American. And this is where we meet Jacob Elordi as Elvis Presley. Now, I'm going to say this. Austin Butler's performance as Elvis is completely different than Jacob Elordi's performance as Elvis and Priscilla. Both are used differently. Both are created for the story that they were telling. Okay, very different performances. Austin had to completely be him. Austin Butler's performance is more flashy, because I think Baz Luhrmann focused more on the persona of Elvis Presley, the star of Elvis Presley, and he didn't really dive into his personal life. It was just facts that had been said and that we've all known for many, many years. It's very by the numbers, apart from, Baz Luhrmann style, whereas Ellardy's is more in the vision and perception of how Priscilla saw him. And that's completely different. So I advise you guys to watch Priscilla and then watch Elvis. They're two very different films, two very different perspectives, but I do think that Priscilla's perspective is needed and it's necessary. I loved Jacob Elordi in this. He's more of a supporting character. He doesn't have to be, the center of attention when he walks into the room. He also didn't overdo it. And I'm not going to say anything about Austin Butler because Austin Butler was in a very different film. He did not overdo it. It wasn't flashy. He had his Southern twang, which I really liked. Elordi had this essence of Elvis. Like he could just stand there and not say anything. I think it had a lot to do with the height difference between Elvis and Priscilla. He looked more overpowering. He would fly off the handle. That's stuff that we don't see with Elvis, and we see that with Priscilla. So it was just very different, and Ellardy's charm shined right through with Elvis as well. And I think that Elvis was very charming at the time, and Priscilla really loved and admired him. He loved her too. It was just a very weird relationship, and no one really questioned it. I mean, her parents questioned it, but at the same time, it's not like this older man is asking my daughter to go hang out with him at his base. That wasn't what it was. It was Elvis Presley. It didn't process that way. It just shows you the pedestal that these superstars are put on, but you don't know what happens behind closed doors. It's what they want you to see. And at that time, without social media, without paparazzi, without all of these people, they could hide a lot more back then. And he did. He hid her away. And this is what's so heartbreaking while watching Priscilla, is because she genuinely thought that he loved her. And he did. It's not like he didn't love her, but his love was conditional based on what role he molded her into, which is his perfect little wife. So every time that we see Priscilla fall out of line a little bit, he's like, do you know how lucky you are to be in this house living with me at Graceland? Any woman would be lucky to live here. That is what Elvis did to Priscilla. These are actual moments, not fabricated. It's in her memoir. I listened to it, and her heart breaks a bit when she looks back at certain moments in her life. And what I really loved in this is that they did fade to black multiple times to show the time passing, to show different situations. And that's exactly what the book did. So it is a very, very well done adaptation. And the thing is that you have that balance of like what is considered abusive. It's not just physical. It's not just sexual. Okay. It's mental. It's emotional. That is what he did. He toyed with her, and you see the toxicity of their relationship, even though they loved each other. So I think it's really strong, and there are great character pieces for Ellardy and Kaylee Spangler. They had wonderful chemistry. And I know that people are saying there's criticism here. It's like, well, you don't really get to know Priscilla. You see a woman who's trapped. Okay. She didn't have her own individual journey from adolescence to womanhood. She didn't have that. She had a man telling her and conditioning her and kind of controlling her into what he wanted. So it's very different. She had no agency. Even she changed her hair, she changed her makeup, she changed the way she dressed, all to please him, to suit his lifestyle. It was never her lifestyle. And that is another reason why it's just devastating, because no matter what, and especially at the end of this, you can love someone so much, but know that they are not good for you. If anyone, and I'm including myself in this, has had a crush on someone who's like 5 years older than you, you know how hard that is, because you know it's not right, especially at a young age. It's really difficult because you're trying to become a woman. You're on that journey to become a woman, but you're still a teenager. So it's not quite there yet. And you want to please them. You want to be funny for them. You want to be the person that they go to confide in. And it's a really harsh relationship, because in a way it is one-sided. He kept her there until she was of age. He was fooling around with everybody left, right, and center. She was just sitting there. Okay? Just sitting there in Graceland, going to school, while he's out with Anne Margaret partying. He's had sexual encounters with plenty of women. But he's keeping Priscilla there for what? Emotional support. He knows that he can come home. She ain't going anywhere. That was really tough. A lot of people do that. They'll keep someone there because they know that they're good for them, but they can go screw around and do whatever they want. That was Elvis and Priscilla's relationship. No matter how much they loved each other, that is what ended up happening. And I just think it's extremely well done, because even the song choices, they couldn't really use certain songs, but the final needle drop in this, I was just in shock that it was used. For those of you who don't know, after you watch this, Google the song and you'll understand why I think it was just absolutely genius, that final needle drop at the end of Priscilla. But it is about a woman, this film, that is looking for her freedom, looking for her individuality, and trying to find herself after being kind of trapped in this shell of a person that she did not have that journey on her own. I think there's a lot of emotional depth here. I don't think that the people criticizing it, saying that we don't get to know Priscilla, I just think that it was enough to show, because we've heard so much about them. We've heard so much about Priscilla. We've heard so much about Elvis. It's her perspective. And there's just so much that she could have done with her life. That's what creates the complexity in the character. And I think Kaylee Spangler did it so well. Just even the growth of Priscilla, she did that well. I think the costumes were phenomenal. I think the production design is just so pretty and beautiful, exactly like a Sofia Coppola film. And it really just set Jacob Elordi apart from his previous work that I won't mention. I think I was kind of blown away by him, and I was very impressed. This is actually my second time seeing Kaylee Spangler. I watched her at the Bad Times at El Royale, and I completely didn't realize that it was her, but she is a knockout. She's so like small compared to him, but mighty, and we see that in Priscilla. I really liked this. It kind of shattered me a bit, just because there are certain situations in this film and certain conversations, and there's some yearning and wanting to be desirable from the person that you want. Priscilla just wasn't getting that satisfaction, and it just really hit me in the feels. It really got to me, this one. I gave it a 5 out of 5. This is one of my favorite films of the year, next to Oppenheimer. It was hard for me to process after I watched it, and it stayed with me for a while. Many people can definitely resonate with Priscilla's journey, and I think it's a really important story to be told, because adults tend to kind of rediscover certain things that are locked away in your head. They're repressed feelings, they're repressed memories. Sometimes our memories are changed because it's easier to remember them in a lighter way, but stuff's there. And Sofia Coppola unpacks that not only through Priscilla, but like as a viewer, she opens up a whole can of worms, and it's really powerful stuff to be able to do that. So I do think that this is going to resonate with women more so than men. So I absolutely love this. This is a banger from A24. I think it's exceptional. One of my favorites from Sofia Coppola, if not my favorite from Sofia Coppola. I love Sofia Coppola, and I really want everyone to go watch this in theaters because it's fantastic. So if you guys enjoyed this review, please like and subscribe. You can always follow me over at AMX NDA Reviews on Twitter, Instagram, and Letterboxd. And if you guys want to help me grow this wonderful channel, you'll find ways to do that in the bio below. I'll catch you guys next time. Keep watching movies.